might go, or was it earlier than you thought? How did that kind of play out?
I came out after my fourth season. I came out expecting 6, 7 undrafted, and once East-West Shrine, Combine, all kind of culminated to what it was, I did expect to go in that range, yeah.
Did you know that you could play at that level, though, that third round level, in a sense?
When?
When you were going through the college process, you mentioned when you graduated, it kind of seemed like, all right, this might be the range. But did you internally know, I'm so much higher than this?
Yeah, and it kind of goes back to that walk-on mentality. It's like I started college just like that, and I expected to just steadily, one step at a time, climb the ranks, get my foot in the door, and just kill it. Whatever I was asked to do it, and do it really well. And so I figured that's probably going to be my story at this level too, and I'll play a lot higher than maybe what I would be drafted at. And so it was kind of the mentality for that too.
When you got to look at when we saw the call that you had with Isaiah, what have the conversations been like since that call between you and him?
Similar, less yelling, but similar. Just super excited. We're roommates in the hotel, thankfully, which is so sick. Good coincidence there, and so to be able to continue this journey is we've just been talking about how things like this just aren't really happenstance, and it's awesome that this is definitely from the Lord and ordained to be a lifelong friendship and to continue further than just college. So we're really stoked.
How beneficial can it be just to have somebody you know so well already on the team with you?
Shoot, I know. I feel like everybody knows the answer to that. It's awesome. It's so good. It's a little superpower, right? Which is so sick. And I feel like it adds that comfortability and it adds that ability to kind of get your feet wet, get settled a lot faster. Just like you kind of insinuated right there is exactly that.
What do you do off the field for fun?
If I've got my pottery wheel with me, I do pottery. Throw a lot of pots. That was both my sister's wedding gifts was sets of plates and bowls and mugs and all that. So I like to do that stuff. Gifts for people doing that. And then, around here, Illinois is a great place, but there's not a lot of hiking. And I'm a big hiker from South Dakota, western South Dakota. And so out here, there's naked mountains out here, not as many trees, but that's up north, I suppose. So we'll be hiking a lot.
Making pottery would seem to be contradictory to somebody as violent as you.
It is. I feel like there's two sides of the coin, There's two sides of the coin. Like I said, I feel like, the gentleness and kindness are attributes that I am to pursue after the Lord's heart, and also, violence and dominance are as well. So I feel like having both sides of that is honoring and pretty cool.
What did your sisters think of your gift?
They love it. They send me orders all the time. They're like, yeah, make this next. Yeah, I love it. 2 sisters older, yeah.
And then you gave them both plates and all that stuff?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
How long have you been doing that?
I learned on YouTube my senior year of high school during COVID, and just kind of picked it up.
Can you make coffee mugs?
What's that?
Can you make coffee mugs?
I can make coffee mugs. You take one? Anybody else?
What got you into pottery out of everything else?
I don't know. I've always been kind of an artsy guy. With drawing or painting, but in this case, throwing and sculpting. But my mom, I say she's better than Bob Ross at painting murals. She's crazy. No woes here. She's amazing.
Ross is a legend.
She's a legend. So, got the gene from her, yeah, and then just kind of ran with it.
What's come further along, your pottery game or your football game?
Football. I spent a lot more time doing that.
The hiking trails found good food spots out here?
Food spots, you say? We have a really strict diet, my wife and I, so there's some places that are more holistic and kind of granola and organic that we go to. We found a couple out here, which is pretty cool. Can't really find a lot of times.
Do you
still not believe in birds now that you're a Cardinal?
All right. All right. It's a joke. There needs to be context. He's a joke. I believe in birds. I believe in God. He's our creator. There's creation. I believe in birds. We'll set the record straight right now. Thanks, guys.
Goes into it from playing at UMass instead of playing at a high competition like you do in the Big 12, the Big 10, the Pac 12, RIP, the SEC, of course. So, it's so refreshing, right? And it's just so many different examples that we see on a day to day basis. And it just makes too much damn sense.
Well, like people be critical the Illini picks. Number one, I trust Brett Bielema with offensive linemen more than just about anybody in the Big Ten or in college football. And number two, like 2 years ago, those are two players in Tip and Isaiah that started. Isaiah or Isaac? Isaiah Adams. Isaiah Adams that started on one of the most prolific rushing games in college football. They lost their quarterback and their running back, and then they were asked to play out of position this year. And their offensive line coach came on this show, their offensive coordinator, and said they were selfless and they did what was best for the team. Like, just again, look at the transcript, look at the history. Like, I like Andy Isabella, but when Andy Isabella was coming out and all the stats and the statistics said, oh, he's going to be a great player, look at who they played that year. Look at UMass's schedule. Look at the highlights that he had. It looked like a Division III school. Right. And look at Zach Wilson coming out of the draft, the COVID year for BYU. Who did he play against? I want guys who play at the highest level, especially for my first couple picks, especially for the top 100. And he's done that. We may not all agree and love every pick, but you can understand the rationale. The floor was so low with Steve Keim. Every draft pick, it was either, I'm going to revolutionize the NFL, I'm going to revolutionize the off-ball linebacker position, or it's going to be a disaster. Now it's just, hey, this guy played tackle at Texas. He's going to come maybe be our swing tackle. We took him in the 5th round. Hey, easy. That's it. That's it. Legitimately, we're back to just smart people running the organization. Finally.
I mean, it limits the bustability, right? You take the guy out of UMass, and sure, like the prospects that are getting nitpicked that were overlooked, not overlooked, but maybe it was paralysis by overanalysis or not enough. Like DK Metcalf. I mean, what are we doing here?
I mean, he's not.
You take Andy Isabella at 5'8", 5'9" on a good day, and you take him over the 6'3", 200+ pound, sub 4.4 40 running DK Metcalf because people nitpicked his shuttle drill or his cone or whatever it was. I don't remember, but he didn't have enough body fat percentage. Right, it was too low. It was like, what are we doing? Like lean into those players. Don't. Like, if you want to have a draft where you have the exception to, the rule, go ahead and do that. But to do it in this, especially day 2, 2nd round, especially with you're doing it with the pick that you got wrong, you get the pick for Josh Rosen. I mean, it really is. It's insane. And that's how things ran for so long.
Like you say insane, like they just weren't very smart. Like I saw a tweet from Josh Weinfuss today. And I don't know if you had heard this while at the facility, Bo. Mm-hmm. The Cardinals, according to Josh Weinfuss, parted ways with Director of College Scouting Josh Scobie after 15 seasons. So a lot of these guys, the Keim holdovers, were either released last year or they got 1 year, maybe to find another position, and now they're done. All the people associated with Steve Keim, for the most part, high-profile jobs, scouting jobs, personnel people, they're gone now. Like, that's not by accident. And it's not to say Josh Scobie can't go have success elsewhere, but Jason Light was a big part of Steve Keim's success now, and we've seen that.
Yeah, I mean, Scobie was out there in Mobile. He was instrumental as far as this draft class. He was participated, I'm sure, in the bulk of the interviews. And the 5 guys that played in Mobile that they drafted, I'm sure
Yeah.
he was in on all of those, right? And like it was, I'm sure they liked Josh. And in Winefuss's tweet, I think he mentioned, wasn't it like a mutual parting of ways for the most
Yeah.
part? So it's not that they didn't feel like he was equipped to do the job. It was he'd been with the new regime for a year. They'd been with him, and he's probably going to go. That's a big job to have that he held for a while. That he's going to probably go get another good job in the league.
Yeah.
And then Monty Ossenfort's going to get somebody that he really wants to have in that position.
Probably somebody external. I mean, just like they want diversity in their experience. And for whatever reason, with the Arizona Cardinals dating back to the early 90s, it's been internal promotion after internal promotion. And that's not to say there aren't good holdover scouts still with the Cardinals. Steve Keim was a scout, and Rod Graves had been there forever. They just their draft process, their personnel and developing process was broken. It was the worst in the NFL. So I mean, you got to get a second set of eyes, and you can be critical of Michael Bidwell. I'll give him immense credit for one thing. Well, for a couple things, but one thing in particular. Adrian Wilson would have been the trendy decision the year they fired Steve Keim. He was in-house. They could have promoted him. He was close with Adrian Wilson. The fans love Adrian Wilson. He did not do that. Adrian Wilson left the organization. Quentin Harris left the following year. He hired Monty Ossenford, who is a New England disciple. He was hell-bent on finding somebody else to come in. And you know when you bring external people in, they're not here to fluff you up. They're here to expose and tell you what your flaws are to get better. Internal people are going to say, hey, look, I drafted this player and look at all the good stuff we've got going on. That's fine. An external person is going to come in here and basically reevaluate everything you do. And that's what Austin Ford and Dave Sears and Jonathan Gannon have done. So, I mean, say what you want about Michael Bidwell, that we were hoping that they would go that route, and he did.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, I mean, you're seeing it with the Suns, right? You're seeing an owner that has every intention to do what it's going to take to win.
Yes.
And it without the experience and trying to do it without, good people around you, it's tough. It's really tough. Like you can have the best of intentions and trying pull out all the stops, spend the most money, get the best players. But, sometimes if you don't get it, it's not always going to work. And I see it's probably an unpopular opinion to see a lot of Bidwill and Ishbia as far as the lumps that he's taking. Like Bidwill obviously has the issues as far as where he cut costs as far as the facility and stuff. But as far as roster wise, he was willing to do anything and everything to do that and win. But at the same time, like that can be a misguided approach. You have to learn how to win. It's not the same as mortgages. This is professional sports, and there's ways that you have to put yourself in a position and learn and move forward. That you can't. Sometimes you get in a position where you're doing the same thing. It's the definition of insanity, expecting different results, and it's not going to come.
Sometimes you just have to get lucky too.
Yeah.
Ian Cunningham told the Cardinals no.
Yeah.
And then the Cardinals got
Bruce Arians back in the day.
That's right. Bruce Arians was going to take the Bears job. The Bears thought they were going to hire Bruce Arians. Bruce Arians wanted to have Todd Bowles as DC. The Bears weren't vibing with that. They hired Mark Trestman. So the Cardinals were the last coach to be hired that cycle. They got Bruce Arians. Ian Cunningham right now is still with the Bears in an executive role. The Cardinals offered him their GM job. He said no. So they hired Monty Ossenford. That's going to age pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
I think Michael Bidwell was due for some good luck. That's pretty good luck. And I'll tell you right now, Monty Ossenford, if he wasn't the biggest reason, he was one of the biggest reasons they were able to hire Jonathan Gannon.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Yeah, you got the Cunningham, you got the guy that's running the show in Washington. I'm not convinced that Washington's approach this offseason with all that money and all that draft capital is
Ron
gonna
Carthon in Tennessee.
Right. I mean, all those guys that were saying, thanks, but no thanks. Like I'm going to go to what they believed was a better situation where it's like, you kind of like if you can if and it's tough. I understand it. Like this is your life, this is your opportunity, and sometimes it's your first and only opportunity.
And the Cardinals had bad press at the time.
You got
That makes
really
sense.
bad press, but if you're like, hey, this is a blank canvas, I can do with what I want with it. And Monty Ossenfort, man, he's crushed it so far.
Who else is crushing? Our friends at Desert Financial Credit Union. They're going to be able to crush on your financial acumen in the best possible way. Right now, if you're looking maybe to have a savings account, a checkings account, they've got you covered. But what about a mortgage, brand new mortgage, a loan, a credit card, investment options, and more? It's like, I just want to go and be educated. All right. This is not, a transaction. This is a partnership with Desert Financial, the official credit union of the Arizona Cardinals, PHNX Sports, and the Venerable household. That's because for more than 84 years, Desert Financial has been Arizona's largest, most trusted local credit union, dedicated to creating exceptional experiences by giving back to the community and providing financial solutions that make life better. Represent the Red Sea right now with the Arizona Cardinal Visa debit card. Show your team spirit, Bo and Jacob, by opening up a free checking account online. Get an Arizona Cardinal Visa debit card in the process. All you got to do, check out desertfinancial.com/Cardinals to get started. It takes a matter of minutes to open up your free checking account online. Debit card is going to be in the mail a couple days after the fact. Desert Financial, help them level up your financial solutions today.
Yeah. Start a savings account, and maybe you won't be the only one of your friends without a Gucci belt. We're going to help fix that for you with our friends over at Desert Financial. Another way that's going to be able to help you save money, but also not feel like you're slumming it, eating delicious meats and seafood and poultry from our friends over at ButcherBox. We love ButcherBox, and we're going to save you money by signing up your first order from ButcherBox. You can save $20 and get free meat. Check it out. Go to butcherbox.com/PHNX and use the promo code PHNX when you sign up, and you're going to get $20 off your first box and free meat. Don't miss out on this. It's so convenient and it's so delicious. I got my box last week. It's unreal. Got 2 delicious steaks, got a couple chicken breasts in there, got some pork ribs, and also got endless amounts of ground beef. We're going to be grilling up some burgers, Johnny. You want to come over and eat maybe a quarter of a burger and leave the rest of it up for my kid to eat? You're welcome to come over. We love leftovers here at the Brock residence. So check it out with our friends over at ButcherBox. ButcherBox.com/PHNX with the promo code PHNX. It's going to save you money. It's going to get you free stuff. You're going to love it. ButcherBox.com/PHNX promo code.
The only thing colder than that, Reed, is the fact that I just looked on Twitter. Michael Penix is rocking a new number in Atlanta, number 9, assigned previously to Rondell Moore. Rondell Moore gets to town. He's a part of the trade. He says, oh, yeah, I'll take a single digit, number 9, a single digit in Arizona. No, actually, Michael Penix is taking your number, Rondell. And, oh, by the way, Greg Dortch has your old number in Arizona. He's got number 4. So,
we got the update today. BJ Ujulari wearing number 9.
It's good for him. I like that. He deserves a single digit. He made a sacrifice for the greater good of the organization, and I say that 100% with sincerity. Gifting MHJ number 18. He deserves a single digit. That'll look good on him.
Yeah.
You just got to.
He had Desmond Ritter that came in. He had number 9, and there is the Rondell Moore treatment. It's like, hey, new guy, give up your number or get lost. No, they probably weren't that harsh.
Well, Desmond Ritter's fine. He does not. Ain't no world where Desmond Ritter should be rocking a single digit for this team. Come on now.
Quarterback. He's the backup, probably.
Maybe. We'll see. Low Brock, $1.99. OGs and a Polar Pop. The Dream. What is that word?
Wacky slush?
Wacky slush, maybe? Yeah. Don't.
So taking a couple of the delicious, bouncy, succulent gummies and popping them in your Polar Pop? Sounds like it's pretty good.
Responsibly, absolutely.
Yeah.
Richard.
Fruit, creams, what are we doing? Which one are we using?
Yeah, probably the cream. Richard, $1.99. What are O-line dinners at? Where are O-line dinners at? Paris Johnson Jr.'s house? Probably. Or, Will Hernandez's place, maybe.
Yeah, Yelda Froholt. They still got a lot of vets in that room.
They do.
I love that room.
Libertarian Sasquatch, $1.99. Kime would pick MHJ at 4 and have him sit this year. You joke about that. I was thinking about it. Would Steve Kime have taken Marvin Harrison Jr.? I think there's some doubt that he would have taken him.
First off, it was Kime. This team is no doubt in my mind picking 1-1. this draft.
He'd be taking Caleb for sure. Caleb Williams would be a Cardinal.
They would have bought him out even worse. Probably would have done. There have been shenanigans with Kyler coming back.
He would have been Kyler been traded for a second rounder.
The toxic culture would have continued. There's no way they really win any games throughout the year, and they're the Carolina Panthers of the 2023 season, and they go 1-1, and they tried the hard reset at the quarterback position, even though they didn't have to. Just hey, you empower your quarterback, set him up for success, create an infrastructure. Who knew a guy with a skill set like Kyler Murray could be successful?
Well, who knew? Richard, 499. Who wins a championship first? Diamondbacks, Suns, or Cardinals?
Wow.
It's a tough question. I think the path for the Cardinals is easier than the Diamondbacks. So I think it's between the Suns and the Cardinals.
Yeah.
I think the Diamondbacks, I hope they rebound. They're having a tough start to the season. Felt like they caught lightning in a bottle last year, and like that was the time. I mean, the Dodgers are a juggernaut. I mean, look at the quarterback landscape in the NFC. Like Kyler Murray could do some damage, but
even if he does, you got final boss Patty Mahomes there at the end. You got to beat the Chiefs. You got to beat them. That's going to be tough.
I'll say Suns.
They don't even have a head coach.
They fired their head coach. I'm coaching the Suns this year.
I mean,
they lost to the team that might win the championship, though.
Yeah, but they got swept.
I mean, but if they win the championship, the Suns head coach this year, he was terrible. He's legitimately, they never look good at all this year.
I don't disagree with that. And then you got the Diamondbacks who were so close. Can they get back there? I mean, if you're just looking at this and you're like, okay, well, the Diamondbacks were in the World Series last year. The Suns still have the big three intact. But if I'm thinking about a team that's trending and going in the right direction, if the players that they selected, if they can pan out, it's a quick way back to contention for a playoff spot, and then the next season with more savvy moves, you're right back into it. I think maybe the Suns is maybe the only one that you could say, hey, with the right decisions this offseason, can get right back into it next year.
Yeah, I don't think it's like with the Diamondbacks and the Cardinals, I think it's still very much personnel.
Yeah.
With the Suns, it shouldn't be personnel outside of maybe a tweak at point guard. You could literally bring a coach in that's high level. You get Kevin Durant's buy-in, and you're a contender again. The Cardinals don't have enough defensively to win a championship, and I think the Diamondbacks, I mean, offensively they've had a tough time. Producer Jacob is probably better equipped to speak on this. Where are the Diamondbacks' shortcomings right now, producer?
So Jacob was out of the room. It was probably best for the early part of this conversation, so you and I could have the floor. The question was asked, Jacob, by one of our super chats.
Okay.
Who's going to win a championship first? Suns, D-backs, or Cardinals?
Bo and I both agree real quick that the Suns have a better opportunity of the three. But if we're doing Cards versus Diamondbacks, where are the Diamondbacks' shortcomings right now?
Man, like it's tough to say that it isn't injuries right now.
Okay.
They have about 10 guys that are contributors that are all hurt and not playing, which is lovely. They just got their closer back, Paul Sewald. He's kind of a staple of the bullpen, and he's kind of the glue of that.
Mm-hmm.
So their bullpen was pretty miserable for a majority of the bulk of the season. And in the 4 games that he's been back, they are 4-0. The bullpen has been lights out, and the offense is starting to score some runs. But other than that, like they were 14-20 was kind of the low point at the start of the year, and it was mostly just because they couldn't score runs, and when they could score runs, the bullpen couldn't hold anybody from scoring. So it was a little bit of everything, but it seems like they're starting to piece some things together and that they're turning things around. There's a pretty big test this weekend in Baltimore, though. Bo can probably speak a little bit more on the Orioles there, but yeah, we should see kind of what this team is made of. But I would say, if anything, the bullpen looks a little bit weak from time to time, but we'll see.
Great assessment. The smart asses in the chat bringing up the
back.
Coyotes.
Is that what I think that's what Jacob.
They're back. Yeah, I think they're back.
I will always be objective, but overly confident in my Arizona Cardinals. Coyotes in the chat. How dare you? That wound's still fresh here. Come on now.
What else we have for some super chats? Great question.
We don't have any more
those
super
questions.
chats, but we do have a supersized quarterback in terms of yoked Kyler Murray here, looking to just slay this season. Okay, so I saw this picture I posted. It's from the Cardinals, AZ
Mhm.
Cardinals. This is a man that's going to have a career year. Yes or no?
I mean, he just looks locked in, and this picture was probably snapped May 8th. It's May 9th today. Have we ever seen him as focused as this at this point in the offseason? And he's there. Obviously, he's got the $1 million workout bonus and all that, but he's bought into JG, the culture for the Cardinals. I'm sure he's pumped about all the moves that they made. That was on full display draft night. This guy's ready to put together, and he has the infrastructure around him to have his best career as an NFL player.
That's a killer right there. Let's see it one more time, producer Jacob. This is a guy in the peak of his physical prime, back from the ACL with a very competent coaching staff, probably the best he's ever had since Lincoln Riley. And he's got a plethora of backs, tight ends, linemen. He's got the 4th overall pick at his disposal. Like, look out. For people who are sleeping on this guy, the only thing that's going to hold him back is health. If he plays 17 games this year, they are making the playoffs. He is going to the Pro Bowl. Like, you can't convince me otherwise. Yeah. Every year since Kyler Murray has been in the NFL, outside of his rookie season, when he's played the majority of the season, they have been either in playoff contention or they've been in the postseason. Like, I expect that to continue. He carried a middling to below average roster at the end of last year with the hardest strength of schedule to almost 500. That is commendable. You can't tell me right now. Everybody's going to look up the first Sunday, and we'll know next Wednesday who they're going to play the first Sunday of the NFL season. He is going to put up about 3 touchdowns and over 300 yards in a W, and people are going to lose it. They're going to be, oh, where's Kyler Murray been? He's right here, crushing it this offseason. Looks fantastic.
That strength and conditioning, you don't even have your coaches out there on the field. You've just got the training staff, right?
Yeah.
And he's got the pissed off LeBron James look in his eye. He looks like he's about to tear somebody's head off right there. And as I said, it's May 8th. You look at the final 3 games of last season, where this is a team that wanted to ground and pound you and then, set up the pass. I mean, he goes over 70% completion percentage, 6 touchdowns, 1 interception. That was in Philly. And had a quarterback rating of 108. Like that's what's possible. And probably for the first time in his career, it was trending up going into the end of the season, finishing a season. So, I think that they want to obviously hit the ground running to open the year and then consistently, bully teams and play their style of football. But yeah, I absolutely agree. I mean, the only thing that's standing in his way is what I think is a fair criticism is if he's able to stay healthy enough.
I see people, I see people in the chat talking about maturity. Here's what I'll say on that. We're all better in our professional careers when we're surrounded by good people. We're only as good as the people around us. And I think, yes, Kyler Murray had some shortcomings, excluding Bo Brock. Kyler Murray might have had some leadership shortcomings early in his career. Okay. That's been documented. Look at the infrastructure that he had and ask yourself how many young quarterbacks could have sustained what was going on behind the scenes, on the playing field, lack of development, coaching staff, GM, owner, and made the postseason in the division with Kyle Shanahan, Pete Carroll, and Sean McVay. Now, okay, yeah, he looks great. He's primed for a rebound. Oh, he's got competent people around him. This is a man's game. This is a difficult game. You can't do it by yourself, right? This isn't tennis, right? You're not going to be able to go out and just carry a team every single week. Not carry a team, carry a franchise. He was dubbed the savior when he got here in 2019. So now it's just like he's a big piece of the puzzle, but he's part of the puzzle. He's part of the infrastructure. He's being challenged by the coaches and the executives and the general managers, and he's responding to them, and he's taken on a leadership role. It's just like this has always been there with Kyler. And I am very steadfast in my opinion that he was held back by this franchise, by the people who are no longer here. And that's unfortunate, but better late than never to get him some adults that can help him grow and get to where he wants to be as a professional.
For sure. And he came in a baby, and he had a lot put on his shoulders, and probably was unfair. And he had a head coach that was
He's 20 years old.
overmatched, and you had a general manager that didn't really know how to put pieces around him for success, right? But I'm not going to make Kyler Murray completely, uh, you know, like he had his role. Like he had things as far as the maturation that he had to learn. And I think 2022 was a huge part of that, right?
Yeah.
And when he came back from that injury, like he was locked in, but he also had an organization that was empowering him, that was challenging him. He's a competitor. Like at the end of the day, he loves to compete. And if you're challenging him off the playing field, he's going to be engaged, and you can tell that he's engaged even at this stage in the offseason. So I just think it's a good marriage between front office, the coaching staff, and their franchise quarterback. It really is. Like you can make all the jokes you want, but you bring in a guy that in Brian Hartline, who told us yesterday, in Marvin Harrison Jr., who could just cruise to big time NFL deals and have a good career, just being who he is with the skill set that he was blessed with. But he's obsessed with the game of football. And Kyler Murray is just as obsessed as Marvin Harrison Jr. is. And to have people around him like MHJ and JG, they're equally as obsessed. And that's a good problem to have.
Yeah, I can't think of a better threesome offensively. And I put Trey McBride in this group too, but like the high picks of Paris, Marvin, and Kyler, all knowing the expectations that come with being a high pick, playing college football at the highest level, and Kyler Murray taking a leadership role with those two players. I mean, it's just like it's the perfect storm right now. Like people who scoff at this team, oh, they can't make the playoffs, they're gonna have a losing record. Like, just not paying attention. Just not paying attention. They got too much talent. We got a lot of talent on display tomorrow. Dobson Ranch keeping it 100. Second annual golf tournament, Bo. I think we're at max capacity, but that doesn't mean shouldn't come out. Maybe hit the links, do a little big driving.
You can't just tell people to come out.
Well, I mean, on the tees, come out on the tees, not the tees, but the driving range.
The driving range,
Yeah,
yep.
come out on the driving range.
The driving range it's unmatched in
Yeah.
the Valley of the Sun. What they've got going on there at Dobson Ranch, like there's other places around the valley that try to do that, but
Yeah.
they've got the best games. You can go out there and just strike some balls and have a good time, have a blast. While the PHNX crew's out there and everybody's having a good time, keeping it 100 in the second annual golf tournament, the scramble that tees off at 7:30. Jacob, we are sold out.
I believe that is correct. We
We're
are sold out.
officially sold out. So you missed your opportunity to get in there, but you can still maybe check in on the festivities. Don't want to miss out on that. But then we got a bit of a day tomorrow as far as this program goes.
We have Marvin, not in the morning, but Marvin in the afternoon with Johnny and Bo.
Well, I'll
not
be
on
out
the
there
show.
in the morning. Yeah.
Bo will be out there. So Bo will have highlights from mini camp, PHNX_Cardinals. Tentatively.
You don't have to say this.
No, I'm not.
The big
You want me to
guest?
say that? Yeah.
Okay.
We got a big guest tomorrow. We hope.
Yeah.
We hope. Yeah, she's a big one. I'll tell you what's big right now that's not sold out, unlike our tournament tomorrow. How about the PHNX Cardinals' newest T-shirt at the merchandise locker, the Phoenix Cardinal T-shirt that you can get right now for free by becoming a diehard at gophnx.com. Bo, check this out. My favorite animal next to my favorite stadium, next to my favorite flag. How about that? That's called the trifecta right there.
Mhm.
A triple threat T-shirt, the Phoenix Cardinal tee. Love it on the black. The colors pop. It's the hottest new release at the merchandise locker. Get it now. Become a diehard. You get it for free, Bo.
Yeah, you get it as your annual free tee or hat. You get becoming a diehard. You also get that exclusive entrance to the member Discord. There's so many incentives to become a diehard that you don't want to miss out on that. Go phnx.com. It's only getting better, and this is just the beginning for this podcast, this team. It's so much fun what's going on as far as this community. So huge day tomorrow. Marv's debut, Darius Robinson's debut, Max Melton, Tip Ryman, like all of them are going to be out there on the field. It's going to be a packed house on the gridiron. And then probably we get one of our white whale guests that we've been chasing for a long time.
We hope.
Yeah.
We hope. If it doesn't happen, we're not gonna we're gonna power through, and eventually it will happen. But we're working hard behind the
Digital
scenes.
dust. Digital dust makes a good point here. Johnny just said our female guest. She's a big one. Probably not the best. She's big personality, huge, huge, huge get if it happens.
We're working hard for this group.
Yeah.
And Fridays on this program on PHNX Sports, these are not throwaway shows. Sometimes they're the best shows of the whole flippin' week. Like and subscribe. Leave us a 5-star. We got a couple super chats here. Illa Dre, $1.99. Friend of the program, Illa Dre. Greg Dortch will get to 1,000 yards this year. Would be a tremendous year for Greg. Be a tremendous accomplishment. Every year.
Greg Dortch is getting to 1,000 yards. Like I would love to see that, but ahead of MHJ,
It's double-digit wins if he has 1,000 yards.
MHJ or something went horrendously wrong. Like MHJ, Trey McBride, Michael Wilson.
When he's on the field, he's always open and he's always making plays. Richard making plays. Another super chat, $1.99. JG wants effing killers. Well, he's got one at quarterback. Look at that photo and tell me Kyler Murray is not ready to slay this NFL season. Look at that. That's a killer of an NFL quarterback if I've ever seen one. Think Brock Purdy looks like that right now? Hell no. People were talking about Brock Purdy's arms. Oh, he's been lifting. Kyler Murray is ready to retake this division, and I can't wait to see it. I wish it was opening NFL Sunday tomorrow.
If you missed our interview with Brian Hartline, you can find that on our YouTube page, PHNX Sports. While you're there, subscribe. Don't miss out on any of the great content from us here, PHNX Cards, PHNX Sports. Follow Johnny on Twitter. Follow PHNX_Cardinals on Twitter as well. Follow me for all the updates from practice tomorrow. We'll hear from JG right around 9. Players at the practice field, 9:30. If you're looking for that. Barring any breaking news, there's been a lot of it today, but hopefully not with the Cards. We'll talk to you tomorrow, 4:30, right here, PHNX Cards.
We all silly like the mayor.
What's up, guys? Welcome back. So new ABC stuff, Kaiba stuff featuring enemy controller, a new fusion, a couple of new fusions, right? And featuring the new ABC cards or ABC in general. This is the current deck list. I've made some small changes compared to the build that I used some time ago. It's pretty straightforward. The only thing that I might contemplate on adding in the main deck is Revolution Synchron. You know how good it is. Then again, the biggest choke point of the deck is the extra deck. you can only play 15 cards here in an extra deck, and that's just, I need more if I want to fit in other cards that I really want to fit in. So the new support, where does it come into play? What does it benefit the current ABC decks? There's a couple of one cards, big board plays. The first one being the new X-Head cannon, X-Head one, which is basically an extender, a free extender, if you control, what is it, a light fusion, a union monster, which in this case, in this deck is not that hard. Plus, as soon as you use its effect, so it's a free equip from deck, basically a union hanger field spell, but in monster form, it comes with restriction that it locks you into light types for the rest of the entire turn, as in summons, right? And that's kind of big, no Masquerina, no Apo, you get the point. So that's why there are some maybe awkward generic Link 2 lights there because of this. One of the new ones is this one. What is the silhouette? It could be important if you're running the new trap as well, which is searchable off of this new Link 2. An illusion Link 2 that, what is it, the trap says that it negates opponent's monster effects compared to the amount of illusion monsters you control. Something like that. I'm not running the trap, so I'm not bothering with that. Because again, next to the big extra deck restriction, I guess, the deck also, and that has been the case with ABC ever since the beginning, is that you're running some bricks. And again, I don't want to main deck too many bricks in the main deck, so that's why the trap from the illusion cards are not there, or is not there. That particular end board, it's very similar to this one, but here now I think we are adding in the field spell, an open field spell. So we open the field spell. Short set. This makes it so that the new fusion, the Any Controller fusion, can search either the Union Hanger, the field spell for ADC, or this new spell. The new spell is basically a Foolish Burial. Foolish one of your ABC monsters. Well, it depends. That's the restriction. It's kind of like Small World. You can send, what is it, an ABC monster from your deck to the graveyard with, an amount of attack points, like 1500, and then take another ABC monster from your deck with the same attack point, but different name. So, short set, the amount of ABC monsters you can search with this aren't that high. It's only B because of the 1500 attack, it's Y, and it's the new Z attack. Unless you're probably making other Union cards, but I'm probably not recommending that. So the big difference with this board and the first board is that you were able to put up an early Masquerina and then lock yourself into lights for the rest of the entire turn. And that's kind of sick, if you ask me. Again, there are some choke points, but the beautiful part here is that, and that's I guess the biggest advantage, is that all of the new ABC cards, well Y, Z, you know what I mean, that they are not once per turn. As you see, you can just equip them, special summon them, as it was before, equip B, special summon B, etc. The only card that does have that restriction is the field spell, and that doesn't change. That's why the the level 5 is there, the brick, the one that you don't want to draw. You know which one I mean. To get that potential special summon off of the field spell. So pretty much it's the same board. The Therion package is there, still stable for this deck, plus this new spell, the new Foolish spell, I guess makes your Theseus instantly live. Is it Theseus? No, it's not Theseus. Therion. No, Theseus. It's because I saw it on Master Duel some time ago. A couple of hours ago with a new support. Anyway. Pretty much the same board. I guess if you're running the Silhouette card, the continuous trap for monster negation, maybe you could switch around. I mean, in this case, I had Masquerina in the extra monster zone, so Masquerina is always better. But I needed some space, so there's a couple of negations, and oh, right, this is something cute. So a couple of negations, this new fusion X, very similar to ABC Dragon Buster. What is it? Discard a card, pop a card from your opponent. Plus, it can also tag out up to, so that's already cool. But again, it needs more level 8s in your extra deck, and there's just no space for that. This interaction is also cool. So you use ABC Dragon Buster to banish something, tag out, okay, tag out for 3. And by doing this, special summoning 3 at the same time, this triggers your spell, banish itself, to search a 3k attack monster or more, and you could immediately normal summon it to the field. And a gimmicky one is Barbaros. So you know Barbaros has the capability, just like the God cards, for example, to do 3 to blow up the entire board from your opponent. And that's cute, but the fact that, is it worth it? In the long run, probably not. For like a higher round, multiple round regionals wise, yes, probably not. But it's a cool gimmick. So you could potentially, look forward to other potential searches that are not a quote-unquote brick, like Barbaros. I like the Galaxy engine, a small Galaxy engine because of this, an easy infinity, plus they're all lights, so I think it's still needed. And again, because of their rank 4, it's searchable, so it definitely has a place. So one omni-negation, so we can go for full combo. Again, this is the one card combo that I've shown a couple of moments ago. We had one of the level 4, and then just keep extending. Shooting Rhizar into Ancient Fairy Dragon, pop the field spell, Surge Ethereon, field spell, and it goes from there. Special summon Z Metal Tank. And yeah, the ratios might seem a little bit awkward, but if again, I really want to keep the amount of bricks in my deck at the lowest amount, so I'm not so sure if I want to main deck more of the new XYZ monsters. I think the one of Tank that special summons one of your banished or equips banished power, but you can special summon it, so it's fairly, you're working towards pretty much the same board. So yeah, same restriction. Again, if you're playing that head silhouette card, you're not ending on the Charmer light, but on that silhouette head monster light. So again, the same place. Banish one of the sets, tag out for 3, and because I think I already opened the field spell, so you search the other line, the other spell, quick tribute summon during their turn, blow up the entire board, and go from there. That's game. Yips, I can... I even can get nipped on their turn, so that's cute. Luckily, you had Infinity still. But look at the extra deck. What is it? 5 cards left? So that's a small downside. Is it because of that small restriction of only being able to special summon lights after the effects of the XYZ monsters, the new ones? You could special summon or empty your extra deck maybe a bit too soon. So again, suggestions for the extra deck are definitely welcome. I'm looking at access code maybe. Is Apo still maybe during their turn, obviously, but I mean the 1-card starters and engines like the X-Head, but it's not searchable, I think, because the new X-Head is not a union monster, so that's important. That's really important. Again, very similar. There's 1 set. So we play around Imper because now we have double effect. We can special summon Y from hand or equip it with X on field. Yep, the second one. So special summon it for free. Equip something from my graveyard, which is B. B special summons itself. And then again, basically the same combo. Go for the enemy control or fusion. Search another union hanger, which could be useful for next turn. Because I'm going to sacrifice my battle phase and use Ancient Fairy Dragon. I'm not so sure if I was able to attack for a game. So here we can just eventually establish the same board as we've seen before, and then Buster to banish the green, Snake Eye, and then that's basically game, right? So it's really cool, this new support. It has some 1-card starters. The small choke points of ABC is still there. There are you're kind of forced to running some bricks. The Torque Tune gear, I believe the name is Level Tuner, is needed, as you saw. Barbaus is not needed, but it's a cool tech. But other than that, Revolution Synchron, but again, I want to keep the deck at 40 cards sharp, so all suggestions are definitely welcome. Okay, guys, is it? Thanks for watching, feel free.
A Marco Watch on a Thursday has almost become iconic at this point for how much has been actually happening in the game. Make sure you guys smash the crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out more. I was turning on Marco Watch here. We actually got some new sleeves announced last night, and you kind of pick your poison for what you want. These are all going to be 660 yen each. You're probably looking at like $10 on eBay with some shipping and so forth, but the black ones actually look really good. I also am a fan of the blue ones here, of course, right? The guy that wears a blue shirt for a living loves these, and of course these actually aren't too terrible. But if you're a fan of the more generic card back sleeves, are going to be 70 in these per pack. You'll be able to find them on eBay. For those of you that tend to not understand how the internet works and where you can find things, ebay.com, tcgplayer.com. You're watching a Marco Watch and you don't know these things. Also, quick shout out to Kong's Cards down here. They have pre-orders still available for tins. They have Rarity Collection. Discount code MCO40 is going to save you on your purchase on all of this. You can even get the Light of Destruction down here for people that were asking. They also have cases down here for everything that you could want. Discount code MCO40. Save on your purchase. Woo. All right, so the point of this Marco Watch today, a couple things. Actually, on the 17th, TCG Player should have a major kickback for my understanding here, and a chance to win some store credit. You can read more about that. We don't know what the store credit kickback is or actually anything at this point, but we know something's coming next Friday. All right, so Marincess cards. We did get the announcement for the new Trickstar Marincess card that can revive itself from the graveyard, which is kind of spooked up some interesting, I guess, talk points for this. Also, I want to point out down here, Marincess, if you want to pick up these are 120s for foreign copies. It's actually not bad at all. Actually quite nice. Rising Rampage, by the way, 125, and get special editions for a nice $10. The Coral Anemones still floating around $8-9, but Dive down here has had some pretty large movements today alone. Look at all this. Like the last 2 days, holy crap, man. People came through here and they started cleaning up house on Dive. You're down to 98 listings at this point. It's not like the card really changes too much for Marincess, but it's enough that people are like, hey, well, let's go ahead and pick this up. The hand knowledge that card gives you to know whether or not what to play around. I've already read, there were a lot of comments today going, oh, this card sucks, who needs hand knowledge? People don't understand that knowing what your opponent has, knowing how to structure your turn, the ability to play around those hand traps that your opponent has, that's nuts. There's a reason why a Pointer of the Red Lotus is banned. Trap Dust Shoot, banned. these cards that can look at your opponent's hand freely and gain you knowledge of what you need to play around. That's the thing. It's the play around aspect of things that you need to be aware of, and that's what you get with this. Also, Blue Tangs, 45 listings. That's looking a little bit low. Spring Girl down to about 3. Pascalis, still, this card has been an absolute train wreck. These never really repopulated. They've just been kind of the same that they've been, coming in about $4 to $5. It's genuinely crazy just to see how the Marincess market is holding up over time with this. Of course, the Blue Slugs coming in at about 2 to 3 a piece as well. So, moral of the story. One card in the Marincess department has not really turned things too upside down, but it's brought new life into what people want to pick up from this section. Oh, speaking of, hey, Trickstar cards. So with the new card, a lot of people have looked at the Trickstar stuff and they'd be like, oh, I don't know if I want to play this. Also, Star Pack Brains, $70. Okay. As of filming this morning, Lycoris is floating about, well, somebody bought one for 50 back on the 4th. You've had no new Trickstar Lycoris movements, which kind of, honestly, I think a lot of people kind of gave up hope for the Trickstar department. The new cards are cool. Trickstar Reincarnation still coming in about 4s, 5s as well. And then, wow, actually, this card is now worth money. I did not see this coming. How in the world is this doing? Wow. Savage Strike. And we've had movements. Wow. Okay. I didn't expect to see that. Lily Bell's coming in about 2 still. Candinas. Starfoil is about 2 to 3s. Live stages, these have actually gone up as well. Time to dig through the old bulk. Cool. I did not expect to see live stage also going up in price either. Wow, this is now a $5 card. Cool. Looks like we did have some Trickstar movements. Candinas still on the up and up. Because every time you look at this stuff, it's always just the main stuff. Crimson Heart, $1.50. And of course, the Trickstar token still $1.50. Yeah, there's no other really major movements back here, but Devardius coming in actually pretty much on the up and up here. And the live stage also moving up. I did not honestly expect to see that. Okay. Oh boy. The ABC Dragon Buster squad. Oh boy. I can't tell you that I'm not surprised to see this. Wow, that's it still says it's down, but I mean, like, still looking at, like, yeah, you can get these for like $5 a piece on the Seeker Rares. Nothing really too major on these. Your Dragon Busters, still pretty cheap across the board. So nothing really too upsetting in this department for these. The Assault Cores, on the other hand, 68 listings. You're still looking at a good solid $1 on the Assault Cores, heading on up to probably 2 to 3 a piece. I'm not that surprised either to see this. The Assault Cores and the original structure decks are also still down. Your B Buster Drakes, 43 listings. These are moving up. B Buster's always been the one that's been a little bit more on the uptick. Always, I think, will be. Yeah, still solidly $2 here. Legendary Collection, Kaiba, always going to be something. 75 cents down here for these. And, of course, the Sea Crush Wyverns coming in at a good solid, like dollars and whatnot. Once again, if you're looking at wanting to pick up the pieces to try out the stuff for the Light Duels pack, I think it's interesting, and that's all there really is to it, I think, at this point. You are going to have a lot of people that are going to continue to look at the new cards, and there will be some genuine vested interest in it. It just comes down to playability. Oh, I forgot this card existed. The Battles Relentless Revenge Edition. These things are still $7 frickin' dollars. Heading on up to 8. That, actually on up to 10. That is, in itself, crazy to actually see by itself, but okay. And then, of course, we have the Speed Duel version, trucking on along here at a nice $8. And your Super Rares are actually down to dollars. These literally fell off the side of a building for the Super Rares. But, I mean, they double printed it in Seeker Rare, so it's not like you can't really get it. If you want, like, a nice rare, you can also get that from El Dorado. So, you've got availability. It's definitely good. To the 3 people out here that are like, Union Controller means that Union Carrier is going to get an errata. All right, I'm putting all of my stonks in this. I've read comments from people today going, "It's coming back. You guys don't understand. They're going to bring Union Carrier back." The fact that somebody bought out 26 listings for this, I'm going to be completely honest with you. I do not foresee this coming back. I think Konami took note of the issues that this card had, and I do not foresee this coming back anytime soon. All right, it needs an errata to only act or only work with Union monsters, yes, but there's no. This actually should have been the thing that should have been errata the last time through here. Ben said, we got Summon Sorceress back, which was cool, but you're looking at this right now. Ugh, I don't think it's happening. And then Mechanized Madness. For those of you that have forgotten, this is $97 for a whole box of these. Individual one's going to cost you at $12. Actually, which is funny is, I love how the Cosmic Cyclone is listed as the most expensive card in here, but like you truck on down here, Gear Frame's like $2s, Fortresses at $1. There's your unauthorized reactivation, still very cheap. Machine Overdrive also on the up and up. Look at this stuff, nice 40 cents. Your Machina Redeployment also looking very, very cheap from in here as well. Most of this structure deck is very cheap. I actually heard people asking for reprints of this structure deck recently, which I don't understand why. You've got plenty of the stuff available in here, all at a relatively cheap price. Even like the Possessed Storage, very cheap, 207 listings available on this stuff. Yeah, there's nothing really too crazy to go on in here, but okay, well, that's your market today. A lot of very interesting shortcomings, but okay, so leave a comment down below.
What is going on, guys? This is Miasin. So today I wanted to make a kind of an overview video of all the interesting tech staples and decks that people were playing at YCS Rio in Brazil, because, I was able to witness everything with my own eyes. I was there, and I was, I did see some cool things that, definitely warrant making a video on, because it definitely might be impactful if you are trying to play at the next YCS, either Indianapolis or maybe if you're going to like European Nats, not the Euro WCQ, because that's going to be a different format. We're going to have Terminal World as well as Infinite Forbidden, and things will be drastically different. But before we at least get Terminal World and the other set, we're getting to the point where nobody's playing Far King anymore. As a matter of fact, in YCS Rio, only 2 players were able to top with that deck. And then 12 were on pure Snake Eyes, 2 Melodious Snake Eyes as well, if my memory serves me right. As well as, I believe, 5 Wuss's Voice, and then 3 or 4 Tenpai Dragon, 1 Pure Melodious, 1 Dark World, 1, I think it was Runic Stun, 1 Flunderies, and I think that's pretty much it. I might have missed something, but for the most part, that was it. Before we go any further, I would really appreciate if you could smash the like and subscribe button. Thank you so much, you are the best, and now let's get right into it. So first of all, what were the most played hand shops? Well, Ash, Imperm, these 2 hand shops were in everybody's deck. These cards are so broken that if your opponent is playing hand shops, then you're always going to be seeing those cards. Whereas some other hand shops, you have a lower likelihood of seeing them. Veiler is less good than Imperm, so we saw a little less than that. As a matter of fact, I played Imperm, but I didn't play Veiler. Veiler was in my deck list until like the very last minute. And then we saw quite a lot of Nibiru's in people's main deck. Not so much in people's side deck. It was especially like as a main deck option in the fire decks, because they have the ability to play like 18 hand shops. And then obviously Mourner always follows suits. If you're playing Mourner, it means that you're playing 3 of each of these cards, because Mourner is objectively worse. And then either Droll or the Ogre as the 16, 17, and 18 hand shop. Some people were playing like 17 hand shops, I think, instead of 18. That must have been Raphael's winning deck list, 43 cards, 2 Nibiru, as well as 1 Kashtira Birth. So the deck list that you're seeing on the screen is like almost correct, but it's not 100% what he actually played. It's a really nice deck list, so huge shoutouts to Raphael if you're watching this, and huge congrats on winning the YCS with Kashtira Snake Eyes. Very good freaking deck for sure. And we're going to be covering the Kashtira cards very soon. But anyways, like I said, Droll, pretty good, and then Ogre was the other card that people were considering either main decking or side decking. But myself, I saw a lot of Ogre. It was, oh my god, almost everywhere. Every single fire matchup that I played almost had Ogre in the main, and they always resolved it against me. Didn't do too much. Honestly, I think this card's really bad if you're not playing against like Tenpai or some random rogue decks. It can be good against Voice's Voice because you can hit their barrier. I mean, you can hit also their Blessing, but that's not really relevant, because if they have Blessing, then they already have combo. Blessing is not a starter, it's more of like an extender or recovery card. so it's not super good, and it kind of follows the same logic as, you know, the other hand traps. Like, they're bad if you draw them alone, but if you draw them in combination, then they're good. So it's really up to you if you want to play Ogre in your deck list. I mean, I've made a video where I reviewed pretty much all the hand traps, and Ogre was like in my tier list of like the decent hand traps, but not the insane ones. Whereas like Ash, Imperm, and even Veiler were like the absolute best. And even like Morn or Nib, these cards are pretty fine as well. But if you're not playing against a fire deck, Nibiru is usually always bad. So that's one drawback with that card. But it is good against like some other rogue decks that did see play. Like Pure Kashtira or Salamangrate, some random decks that you don't really expect to see too much, because nowadays when people go like, you know, Field Spell or Special Summon Unicorn effect, you waste your hand traps on those cards, then they can go Normal Summon Snake Eye Ash, and you're really gonna feel like really stupid for not, you know, holding your hand trap for later. Whereas if it's Pure Kashtira, you're gonna feel stupid for not hand trapping them very early. So it's kind of like the duality of you don't really know what your opponent is playing, so what do? But when it's a pro player, then you can always tell it's Kashtira, Snake Eyes, and not Pure Kashtira. But one really important advice that I can give you is always ask your opponent how many cards in deck. If the answer is 40, then it's most likely Pure Kashtira, because I haven't really seen any Pure Kashtira deck play more than 40. But if the answer is like 42, 33, etc., it's most likely Kashtira Snake Eyes, and you should absolutely not ash your Right Sauce or Unicorn or whatever, so keep that in mind. Now, for the actual Kashtira engine in the Snake Eye deck, it's really simple. It's like anywhere between 1 to 3 copies of Right Sauce. It varies a lot. I've seen all 3 numbers, but it's always at least 1 because this card's really nice. It searches Unicorn, which searches you Birth, and this card is multiple sends for your Snake Eye monsters. So you always have like some gas and some ways to like send the cards to the grave so that you can transform your Snake Eye monsters. Or you can use Original and Kashtira Burst effect to banish 3 cards from your opponent's graveyard on the resolution of your opponent activates a spell card or effect while you control a Kashtira monster is also nice. So yeah, there's also Fenrir that you inherently play that you can also search with the Right Sauce in case you already have the Unicorn, and obviously the Birth allows you to normal summon that Fenrir. Every card is like fine to draw. Birth is like the only like kind of attack at Tomborg. It doesn't really do anything on its own if you don't have a monster, but it's usually not the end of the world. So yeah, a bunch of good cards. There are like non-engine cards that also kind of get you to an engine in a way, not really, but they do a lot, like I said, just on their own. And if you draw like 2 Kashtira cards, then you got 2 level 7 monsters on the board. So one thing that you can do, you can go into a Draco Sack, summon 2 tokens, and then go for your double Link Spider, and then G-Golem Crystal Heart, revive back a Link Spider, and then you can go into an Appaloosa. So an opponent of mine did that against me, and I could not do anything whatsoever. And as a matter of fact, it was even worse because it wasn't using 2 Kashtira monsters, but rather a Diabellstar that I negated because he had a Wanted in the grave. I didn't want to like let the Diabellstar get the original so that he could summon a Snake Eye monster to negate that. So I didn't want him to draw a card, and because of that, he was able to go into a Draco Sack using the Diabellstar and the Kashtira monster. So it's a lot of commitment in your extra deck. If you're only playing Draco Sack, I think it's better. Now, another really nice card that we're seeing in a lot of Snake Eye deck list is Snake Eye Diabellstar. Not everybody is playing this card, but it is a level 8 monster that you can summon very easily using Divine Temple of the Snake Eye. And because of the fact that it's level 8, we're also seeing a lot of people play Hope Harbinger Dragon Titanic Galaxy. This card is very good because it completely counters Despia since it negates the effect of a spell card or effect. So in other words, if your opponent goes Branded Fusion, even if there is a Branded Lost on the field, you can still negate that. And if your opponent has a second copy of Branded Fusion, it doesn't matter. So that's the beauty of Hope Harbinger. Being able to negate the spell effect is always better than the spell activation itself. So you only really need like Flamberge and Snake Eye Diabellstar to make it. And when you also have Appaloosa, then you can cover more ground. You know, you got monster negates, you got spell negates, and then you got IP into SP, which is very proactive. You can banish cards on the field, graveyard, etc. So your deck just covers so much, and you can also win against like Flunderies and stuff. Just that your deck kind of loses to Evenly or Droplet, but you know, that's uncontrollable. What are you gonna do? And you also even have like the Princess in the Grave, and there's nice ways of beating Evenly anyways. You got Zealantis to destroy yourself, and SP to banish yourself temporarily, and then you can trigger the Raging Phoenix so it comes back, and then you got a Fire Monster, and you still have the Appaloosa because that's the one monster that you control, you kept with Evenly. So the Princess is live, so you still have like 3 interruptions through Evenly, and you're getting a lot of cards back on the end phase. The Snake Eye deck, if piloted correctly, is just really, really hard to stop. I know I'm going on a tangent, sorry, but I really needed to explain that. And before going into any of the other main deck techs, I wanted to kind of go over not super important, so I don't really want to waste my time on it, but Lyrilusk Assemble, Nightingale, and Kikinagashi Fuchu are not really cards that people were even like considering or talking about too much before this YCS. It's really just like some people were playing it on a whim. They were like, oh, I've got like one extra space for like a card for Tenpai Dragon. What should it be? Either one. So just remember that there is like kind of a duality. One of them loses to like certain cards and the other one doesn't, but it loses to the other cards. So Lyrilusk Assemble Nightingale, it plays around Santa Claus and Kaijus, but it loses really hard to Forbidden Droplet and Infinite Impermanence, because when you use the effect, you're usually using it on your opponent's draw phase or standby, and then your opponent can chain Droplet or Imperm. But if you're going for a Kikinagashi Fucho, it's always unaffected by card effects at all times, so it's immune to Droplet and Imperm. But if you use the effect and it resolves, then your opponent can Kaiju you and kill you. Whereas with the Nightingale, it doesn't work because it also applies a lingering condition that makes it so that you no longer take battle damage for the rest of the turn. So you know for a fact that you're surviving, even if you get Kaiju'd on Nightingale. So I guess that is the appeal. And if you're playing Zeus, then you can also go like Nightingale, attack directly or something. Not even directly, but it's just like you attack, you don't die, you don't take damage, and then main phase 2 Zeus, but it's not really relevant for the most part, and it only comes up against Tenpai Dragon, specifically when you're going first. So many like stars have to align in order for you to use any of these cards. It is simply just not worth it. So follow my advice and just do not even consider any of these cards, regardless of the deck that you're playing, unless you can easily afford the extra deck space. Anyways, for the, I guess it's also not really relevant, but the other decks like Voices Voice, they got Blessing of the Voices Voice, but it doesn't really change that much. There are some nice things about Blessing that I could go over in another video, but Tenpai Dragon is a deck that did relatively well. I only played one, but I kept seeing like people play Tenpai Dragon saying like, you go first, you go first. I don't know how correct that is. Maybe a going first version of Tenpai Dragon might be a little better. This deck is not bad when it goes first because you can still like make Hieratic Seal, which is a very good card. It does more than just bounce back a monster. It also special summons a monster from the deck. And there are a lot of nasty dragons that you can summon with Hieratic Seal, so I could make a video on that if you guys are interested. And now for the side deck blowouts that people are playing, I have been seeing a lot of deck lockdown, like way too many. As a matter of fact, out of my 3 losses overall in the tournament, so 2 in Swiss, 1 in top 32, 2 of them were due to deck lockdown. So that's kind of crazy, right? You can't do anything about this card if there is also like a full, the full end board on top. So there was a moment where I had the Cosmic Cyclone for it, but there was no reason for me to Cosmic the deck lockdown early on, because then my hand was also bad, so I had to go like Talons draw 2 and then make a decision there. And I kind of considered going like Cosmic on the Far King Island so that everything is triggered and then I can use the talents and start playing the game. But regardless, I don't really like the deck lockdown, even though I just said that it's broken. It's also really bad because it locks yourself out. And when you're playing a deck like Snake Eyes, you can't really turn off your deck lockdown proactively. You need Diabellstar very specifically. Original doesn't work. The Snake Eye monsters can't send deck lockdown to the graveyard, obviously, because you can't special summon monsters from the deck yourself, so that would be an illegal activation. So yeah, Summon Limit was always much better than deck lockdown. I don't know why this card is gaining so much in popularity. It is very incorrect, because if you get a hand trap to death, deck lockdown doesn't really protect you all that much, so I just do not recommend playing that card. You might as well play like Solemn Strike or like Simul Archfiends and stuff like that, which I just did not see in this YCS. I only saw the same cards, Deck Lockdown, Scale Drain, and Dimensional Barrier. These cards were everywhere. I never got hit by Scale Drain, even though I played 3, but my opponents, I don't think they played that card because they were too busy playing Deck Lockdown. And I think D-Barrier was in everyone's side deck. That card was quite literally the most played card of the YCS, at least in the side. In the main deck, obviously, there was Ash and Imperm. But yeah, get ready to see a lot of D-Barriers. So if you're playing a deck like Purely or something, or even Despia, you need the 3 crossout with 1 D-Barrier when you're going second. Otherwise, you will be losing way too many games because, you know, these cards are really popular. I mean, especially D-Barrier against you. The last engine that I wanted to cover was the Melodious engine that people are playing, not only in, well, obviously in Melodious, but also in Snake Eye. So Ruben managed to get second at the YCS, so again, huge shoutouts to Ruben. With Melodious Snake Eye, I think it's like a 45 card deck list. And also the guy that beat me in top 32, Pedro, he played Melodious Snake Eye as well. A very good deck. It has a lot of starters. You can go normal summon Refrain, that's combo. Activate Ostinato, that's combo. What are they gonna do? Ash the Ostinato. Either you have like a second one because you're good at the game, or you go like normal summon Snake Eye Ash and you win, because now your opponent has one less hand trap and you still have full combo without having to use your normal summon, and this card doesn't lock you whatsoever. So yeah, the only thing that you need for Ostinato to work would be 3 Refrain, 3 Ostinato, 1 Couplé, and then 1 Melodious Concerto. And then in the extra deck, you're always going to Baka, and that summons a Refrain from the deck. And then you're going to be going to Infernal Flame Banshee using 2 Refrain because you can Pendulum Summon. You can also abuse Exceed the Pendulum, and you can use SP Little Knight to banish your Infernal Flame Banshee to summon it back again. And then you can easily climb into Appaloosa. You can do a lot of disgusting things with the deck. It's absolutely ridiculous. Melodious Snake Eye is very scary. The ceiling level is off the charts, but you do have to play a lot of kind of bricks, but not really. I mean, these two cards are bricks, but if you draw like Refrain and Ostinato, one of them has to be a brick if everything resolves. Otherwise, it's not the end of the world, because you're going plus so much off of one single card. And you're also going into your Snake Eye combo using the Melodious cards, which is this really scary part. So also keep that in mind. I don't know if there was anything else for me to cover. I think I've went through pretty much everything that people were playing, at least in YCS Rio. Pretty much it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And I'll see you guys very soon. Peace.
what if out of all this, a tour with Kendrick and Drake comes out? What you gonna think about that?
I would think Kendrick is the. I don't think J. Cole can come back from this because whenever they're gonna have this debate about who's the best, they're always gonna talk about the fact that when Kendrick challenged them, J. Cole ran. You say what you want about Drake, but I'll say this: Drake ain't never run from no beef. All right, you heard?
About what?
They were shooting up Drake's spot.
Oh, I heard that.
There's another one. Apparently, some dude was trying to trespass and they had to arrest him.
Of course.
Yeah. So a different person rolled up on Drake's home.
And
they're like, we heard y'all gathering predators. And so he showed up. He's like, I want to be on the map too.
And the thing that happened is that a lot of people said that the narrative was that Kendrick leaked his address because on the picture there was a lot of people know where he lives. It was a known thing. I think he even sang about it.
No, Kanye is the one who leaked it the first time. This was back in 2021, and then it was just public record since then. So we promised you guys. A lot of you guys wanted to hear our thoughts on everything. The tracks, the beef itself. For those who are not up to date, essentially Drake and Kendrick, as well as J. Cole, were considered the three biggest rappers. Drake and J. Cole did a collab song where they referred to themselves as the Big Three. Okay.
As a matter of fact, because 21 Savage cannot come to Canada at his concert here in Montreal, it was J. Cole that was there.
Gotcha. Following that, shortly after, Metro Boomin came out with a song with Kendrick, where Kendrick said, there is no Big Three, there's just the Big Me. And then from there, Drake wasn't too happy about it. He released a push-up track. There's been more throughout their history, but these are the two most recent things that led to everything. He released a push-up song where he was going at Kendrick, saying he's the best dog, blah, blah, blah. And then Kendrick came out with Euphoria, so hey, don't mention no family stuff. Drake comes back with Family Matters, and within 30 minutes, Kendrick drops. And he drops, and he didn't stop dropping. And then Drake dropped the last track, which is Hearts. I listened to everything from start to finish. I listened to them multiple times. I think you have to kind of catch everything. And I think even then, that's not enough. Because if you're not up to date on every aspect of these people's lives and all their references, you're going to miss a lot of the bars. But I think that's a good general outlook on most of it. Kendrick and Drake go way back. They actually went on tour together where at one point Kendrick was opening for Drake. This was way, way, way back. But they had a falling out. And a lot of people have had falling out with Drake because Drake in the industry got a lot of enemies and a lot of people that he no longer kicks it with. So that's where we're at today. And full disclaimer, people are like, Abba, you're biased. You're a Kendrick stan and you hate Drake. Yes, I hate Drake. That's a fact. But I'm not a Kendrick stan. I'm not somebody who's going to tell, yo, good kid, Mad City. That's not me. Kendrick's cool, but I'm not a crazy Kendrick fan. I just don't like Drake. And I'll just be very honest and upfront. The reason why is he just strikes me as a fraud. That's it. I think one of the biggest things that I've always liked when it comes to hip-hop is people who are authentic. And everything about Drake is like putting on a facade in an act. I hate seeing him change his accent all the time based off who he's talking, from being in an interview and be like, well, actually, the way that I normally talk is like, and then he gets to Toronto, he's like, karate. Then he gets on a hip-hop track and then he's just saying nigga 100 times. Like, just something about him just never sat well with me. The type of music he makes, just everything. So yeah, I've just never liked him. And most of the rappers that I think I've admired most of my life never liked Drake either. So I think there was just a parallel that kind of happened there where somebody just seemed off to me. But beyond that, Drake is a very talented person, very skilled, big hit maker. You can't deny success, so you got to give him credit there. But I wanted to acknowledge my bias before doing any of this. Any bias you would like to acknowledge?
I don't think I really have biases according to those two. The changing accent thing, I don't really mind about that. Maybe that's one of the biases that I have because I do that as well. Everybody does a bit of code switching from time to time. You don't talk the same way with your friends that you talk with your mom. He just does it in a more marketing oriented thing. So me, the fact that he changes accents depending on who he speaks to, I don't care about that. It's a bit for me. Depending on who I speak to, I'm gonna be able to speak differently and use the lingo that they understand, so that we can really understand to what level that we at. You know what I mean? We're gonna be able to understand each other at the same level. That's what I mean by that. I'm gonna be able to go from what's in my mind to what I really want to say, but with the same linguistic, the same language that we agree on. So that's the reason for that. The code switching, everybody to a certain point, people do it. You're not gonna speak customer service with, anyways. You get it. What
on this code switching thing?
Yeah,
I think the big difference is rappers value the authenticity, and generally, rappers who code switch like crazy are not well seen. That's why you catch Kodak Black; he sounds the same in every interview. You catch Future; he sounds the same in interview. Same with Kendrick, Nas, Tupac. There's a reason why they're appreciated for their authenticity. I'm not saying I'm a fan of all of these guys, but I'm just trying to say there's a difference, especially with the stuff he rapping about. He rapping about he a killer. He rapping about all this stuff. It's like you come off as a fraud. That's it. I agree. Code switching is fine for regular people who got to do the regular life stuff. That's not what Drake's doing.
I understand.
Drake is a child actor who turned into an adult actor. That's what I get the vibe of. But I just want to say that. But go ahead.
And I agree with that. The problem is not there you go. The problem is not the code switching. It's everything else. You're not a killer. You're not. You haven't seen that. You're half black, half Jewish. Didn't grow up with your mom, with your dad. You grew up with your mom. Like you had a whole ass bar mitzvah. You're not about lighting people up. You know what I mean? Kendrick as well. I understand the work that he does. I like the work that he does. I don't like all the songs, but most songs I like. I don't really think I have really that much of a bias between those guys. To me, all this is WWE.
Can I get my hat? Where's my cap at? You claiming you neutral. You was born and raised in Canada. Cap, how you gonna claim neutral when you from one of the Six's allies?
We're not allies. We actually don't like Toronto.
Cap. Whenever Drake rolled through, all you be
all you what roll through?
You bitches be like this.
Who's bitch?
Montreal, they be like this in the club.
But we're talking about me when I talk about Montreal.
Did you not go to this concert?
Of course, I go to a lot of concerts.
Did you not go to a Drake concert though?
You know why?
Why'd you go to the Drake concert? I ain't never been to a Drake concert.
You know why?
I don't even go outside when Drake's in town.
You don't even go outside.
Yeah, so that's how much I hate.
No, it's just you don't go outside.
That's how much I hate.
Nah,
I be on my bike, and then everyone's like, yo, Drake's in town concert. I'm like, yo, I'm going home. Fuck this bike. Yeah, you don't understand.
And you just said it. Oh, just drinking that. Okay, just hold on. I'm going home. You just you use his bars. You're biased too.
Okay, that's pretty good. That's not bad.
Go ahead.
My thoughts on the track. I thought Push-Ups was trash. Trash is a strong word. I thought the first half was trash. By the second half, I thought he was really picking up, and I was like, okay, Drake's doing this thing. It's not bad. But I didn't think it was crazy. It started off slow, but it progressively got better, and I was like, okay, you know what? This is like a not bad diss track. I'll give it that. Euphoria came out. I wasn't crazy about it. It was alright. That's what I thought. I thought it was alright. But I think then Drake came back with Family Matters. I'm like, okay, this is probably the best I've ever heard Drake rap over a track. I'm not gonna lie.
Fair.
Family Matters went hard.
Agreed.
Yeah, he said nigga a lot, but it went hard.
Yeah, but it was to prove a point.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't want me to say it? Okay.
That was the first word he said.
Okay.
That was the first word he said.
With a little disclaimer, I don't think you should be saying.
They're trying not to say too
much.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
But you get the point.
Yeah.
But it was really good. I personally didn't like the fact that he was taking shots at everybody. I thought he should have just focused. That was the first word he said.
With a little disclaimer, I don't think you should be saying.
They're trying not to say too much.
I'm sorry.
But you get the point.
Yeah.
But it was really good. I personally didn't like the fact that he was taking shots at everybody. I thought he should have just focused it on Kendrick.
Thank you.
Which I think is like the big mistake of Family Matters. I don't care that you got a problem with Rick Ross. I don't care that you got a problem with Metro Boomin or nothing like that. I want to hear you go straight at Kendrick or anybody in his surrounding who's part of his crew. That would have been fine. But just all these random other people, I ain't trying to hear all that shit. But I thought Family Matters, bar for bar, was fire.
Because the thing that happened, I agree with you. And that's why I don't really count the first track from Drake as a one, like a diss track towards Kendrick. It was a diss track towards everybody that dissed him. So I can't start it from there. So I don't even count that in the. I'm like, yeah, okay, you fired back forget the big three. It's just Big Me. You just fired at that and fired at everybody. Fired at Ross. Fired at everybody that kind of dissed you. You know what I mean? Okay, good. Past that, Kendrick concentrated on you
with Euphoria.
The whole track was about you, and then it was like, okay, you're gonna make a whole track about me, not just a little bar. Then it's on. So I don't really count the first one of Drake that did that.
Wait, no. Family Matters was the second one he did, and that was not just about Drake.
Sure, there was a little bit jib jabs here or there. Yeah,
No, the good a whole portion of like the second verse was about everybody else.
You're right.
Right? And then in the third verse, he came back to just talking about Kendrick for the most part. But even in Family Matters, he's still talking about other people. I'm like, bro, what you doing? If you gonna go this hard, I want to hear just about him. And Kendrick capitalized within an hour. Strategic. He already had this shit pre-written.
Yeah, he already had.
He already had. Some people were like, "Oh, Kendrick, write fast." Let me tell you right now.
That was the definition.
Me hearing those songs and the fact that he dropped like what two of them after Family Matters, I could tell he had already pre-written those, and he might have just did some small edits.
That was the
which
definition,
is okay.
Definition of one in the chamber.
But he dropped it right afterwards just to stunt the Family Matters, and it's unfortunate because people are not going to appreciate how good Family Matters was.
It was. I didn't know Drake I didn't know Drake had that in him.
I don't think in any of the previous beefs he had any track as good as Family Matters.
No.
I will say it is a bit annoying.
Just the fact that we don't remember the tracks from the other beefs.
Nah, like some people was like, oh yeah, Drake killing him. He even making a dance track. Like, I think sometimes people like hip hop. I don't think they like rap.
Yes, you're right.
You know, they're like, oh, it's too bar oriented. It's too like, it's like niggas want a track. They want a diss track. They can go to the club to and start twerking. Like, there's just some people who are in this like at least fandoms of hip hop. Like, I don't think they like bars. I don't think they like rap in general. But that's just like a little side. Kendrick comes back, and I think the first one he drops was 616, which for me is my favorite. I know everyone's like, They Not Like Us or Meet the Grams. In my opinion, 616 was the best one of all of them. That's my favorite one. That drops within an hour of Family Matter. And I'm like, oh shit. Kendrick going in. That comes out. Then I think maybe the next day, 12 hours later, what does he drop?
That was not right after?
No, I think it was like...
No, it was a couple of hours after.
Yeah, within 12 hours.
Yes.
He drops Meet the Grams.
Meet the Grams. Yes, that was
where he's talking about
after.
Drake's son, alleged daughter, the mom, the father. He's talking the whole family. Basically, just like, yo, this who your son is, this who your father is, whatever, this, that.
No,
basically sunning him.
Let me talk to them.
Yeah. And then afterwards, I think the last track was They Not Like Us, where he makes all the allegation regards to the children's stuff, the co-workers and things. And then Drake finally, first he says he's going on vacation, he's not going to respond. Then They Not Like Us comes out, and he's like, the whole rap community's like, bro, if you don't come back and say something, you basically got bitch slapped. So he drops the 6 Hearts.
Part 6.
I think that was pretty weak.
The Hearts?
It was substantially worse than Family Matters. He spent a lot of that track being like, deny, I'm too famous to be a pile, some shit. It was a lot of weird stuff. And then he talks about Kendrick getting diddled, which oddly enough was not what Kendrick said at all in this track. He was talking about how his mom was touched and how he was never. But it doesn't matter because veracity and all this doesn't matter. These guys are just slinging allegations against each other.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as the music goes, I thought it was a weak track, and I think most of you guys are going to agree. You're probably never going to listen to that track ever again. Family Matters, I think, is going to live on. For me, it's a clear-cut W for Kendrick. But I will say, from a rap perspective, Family Matters made me look at whoever wrote that very differently. It was that good. It was that good. If it's Drake who wrote that, BBL Drizzy, you did your thing, okay? And if it's anyone else, it's like... If it's one of you guys who did this for Drake, you know what I'm saying? One of the whoos, okay? Y'all did y'all thing, okay? And listen, we don't appreciate ghostwriters enough, okay? Y'all killed it.
Yeah, we all saw what the fuck you did there.
Okay.
I appreciate whoever wrote that.
Yeah. To be clear, it's already been 110% confirmed that Drake does use ghostwriters pretty often. Now, whether or not he used it for this song, that's a different story. But for me, once I find out you don't write your own raps, it's kind of a rap for me.
It's yeah, there's a dismissal there.
Yes, I've already thought you were an inauthentic person. Then I find out the music you make is not even yours. Whatever, that's a different story.
Yeah, and because of the era as well that you come from, you know what I mean? The music that you listen to. I remember Lick You're a Dinosaur. You know what I mean?
But maybe this ghostwriting thing's been going back further than I know.
But
like if I was to find out DMX didn't write none of his raps, if Tupac didn't write none of his raps, Nas and Biggie didn't write their raps, I'd probably just be like, hey, you know what, Drake, you get a pass. But to my knowledge, they wrote everything. And the way that they wrote was so distinctly different. It feels like it came from them.
Yeah.
Like, say what you want about Pac, but Pac wasn't the craziest lyricist. But his delivery and storytelling were one. If he had a ghost teller, that nigga wasn't that good. But
it
Pac,
was not, yeah.
I could see the patterns in Pac's writing.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? But anyways, I digress. I didn't want to get too far into that.
He's a storyteller. He could depict a picture very well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
But all this to say, that being said,
Coconuts in Barbados.
Picking coconuts in Barbados. I thought Drake did pretty good, but Kendrick still whooped his ass. And I think he did it strategically. I think he did it with how he addressed Drake. I think he also did it from being able to switch up the type of tracks. Like he was doing everything from, a mustard beat to what he did on Euphoria, which was much more of a slow poem. Like he really switched it up well. I thought Drake did the same thing in Family Matters, but Kendrick did it over multiple songs. He even had letters he was writing to the kids and the family. It was just crazy. Honestly, it looked like a full album the way it came out. So yeah.
What do you think? What if out of all this, a tour with Kendrick and Drake comes out? What you gonna think about that?
I would think Kendrick is the lamest nigga I ever seen. Yeah. If they start shaking hands and going buddy after this, I think Kendrick.
But what if it was already all planned?
Super lame. Because Drake is already an inauthentic weirdo. But Kendrick's brand is now going to be completely severed.
Tainted.
Yeah. I think even the West Coast. If you're watching right now, you're a big Kendrick fan. You on the West Coast, whatever it is. And you find out this was all planned and everything. Yeah. How are you going to look at Kendrick afterwards? Mr. I don't do interviews. I'm all like down to earth and you doing a whole publicity ton of fake beef. Yeah. That's corny.
Yeah.
That's super corny.
Yeah, it's going to be looked different. You're right.
What are your thoughts on the tracks? I said all my piece. What's your piece?
They're pretty similar to yours. Although I'm not going to say that it was trash.
Which one? Hearts 6 part 6?
Yeah, I didn't say that it would be trash. It's just that my point on that, the only thing that I would add to what you said is that that's not how you win a beef. You don't win a beef by saying it's not true, and it never happened, and I'm disgusted, that you even insinuate that it did. That's not how you win a beef. But you're pretty accurate.
Any thoughts on any of the tracks?
OVO. I can't.
That's never going away.
Listen. Yeah. You're talking about people. People don't really appreciate it. I appreciate hip hop more than rap. Yeah. But and it was saying, well, Kendrick didn't. When he put out that song, I'm sorry. I was like,
OVO is definitely gonna be a bop. I've already heard some people playing "They Not Like Us" in the club, and it's bopping.
Yeah. It's like
it's bopping.
I understand what you're saying, my friend, but I don't know, man. When the whole beat came out, I was like, oh shit.
OVO. Now step this way. Step this way. Step this way.
And then,
are you my friend?
And then also special mention to
A minors. I think that's the bar that's gonna haunt Drake forever. There's a lot of them.
A minor.
There's some classics.
It's probably
trying to strike a chord. It's probably a minor.
And then if you play that in a club,
yeah,
like everybody's singing that, thinking of you. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah,
that's got they put a anthem with your name linked to it.
It's over. People will see that, and it's crazy because Drake tried to come back on what's it called? Hearts Part 6.
Yeah,
and he's like, I think he said B chord. What did he say? Do you even part? He tried to play on the A minor chord. He said a chord, but he had like a. Yeah. So he said
A minor and B sharp. Yeah, that's what
you mentioned. The A minor, but niggas got a B sharp.
I didn't catch
that. Was weak.
I didn't catch.
I caught that. I'm like, you tried to come back, but you just couldn't. You couldn't keep up with it. And if you think bar for bar, the most memorable lines are going to come. I thought Drake came in with a good line, which one was like, you always rapping like you trying to free the slaves. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Playing on the persona of Kendrick. He had some other ones that were pretty decent.
Yeah.
But you talk about the memorable ones, even the ones like, a deadbeat motherfucker should never say more life. That was also hard. Or he ended that verse with that one. Mm-hmm. That one was also strong. I thought Kendrick, one thing he did really well, every time he wrapped up a track, I think he just ended on such a strong note that it sticks with you. and it gives the illusion that like I just gave that person a knockout punch. Drake just never gave me that over the course of this beef.
I gotta give a special mention to Metro Boomin for giving me the first diss beat.
They call it a distrumental.
The distrumental. Yes, that's good. BBL Drizzy.
Thanks. That's wild.
Disrespect.
BBL Drizzy gonna make that booty queef. And you're straight out of Canada. My little maple leaf. Yeah, that shit went hard. I'm not even gonna front.
Disrespectful.
Pause. That's crazy. All this to say. As far as the shooting that happened at Drake's property, that was rather serious because I think, from what I understand, a couple of assailants in a car drove past, shot at the home where Drake was staying, which is called the Embassy. And one of the guards at the front gate was shot. He's in critical condition. Currently, he's out, and it's life-threatening, so he may not make it. Since that happened, everyone's like, hey, guys, this is not funny. I don't know what you guys think rap beefs are like. To me, this is par for the course. But yeah, wrapping this whole thing up, I think it's pretty clear that with Drake wanting to bow out and now walk away from all this, you know, Kendrick cannot drop another track and win, but I hope he drops another one, you know, something just to conclude all this shit. But he's already won, so I don't even think he really has to. And also, dropping another track, especially if it falls flat after how good his last couple tracks were, may not be in his best interest. I know the fans want it, but if you're thinking from Kendrick's perspective, unless he got some more shit to say that's different than the rest, I don't know how much more he can really say without repeating the same shit.
Exactly.
I think it might be best for Kendrick to really just walk away as well, because he's already won, and he's won by a landslide. But overall, outside of the allegations, which seem fairly credible to me about, you know, at least grooming and stuff, I think this is good for both parties. I think good for hip-hop in general in a weird way. I don't think I've heard people discuss hip-hop this often. The streams are off the charts. The people probably looking up these artists and then discovering a lot of their discographies and all the other people involved. I mean, listen, I don't think I've heard people say Metro Boomin's name so often as now. I didn't even really know much about that mother. So I think it was good overall for hip-hop in general.
And the person that did the best thing was J. Cole to walk away. Sometimes it's better not to just engage in that shit.
I mean, it's a meme, in my opinion. I think it's pretty whack. I think J. Cole, if he wants to call himself one of the top best three and a rap challenge comes along and you walk away, that's weak sauce to me. You can't come up there and say top three and then one of the top three trying to challenge you and you walk away. That's weak sauce. Now, we can make the memes that like, oh, see what happened to Drake? But just don't say you're one of the best then. Shut up about it.
What's going to prove that you're the best is you keeping making tracks. Make bangers and keep making bangers.
Even Drake fans say that Kendrick won. You got DJ Academics, the biggest Drake stan in the world, saying Kendrick won. Trust me, this is literally going to define the rankings for a very long time. And I don't think J. Cole can come back from this because whenever they're going to have this debate about who's the best, they're always going to talk about the fact that when Kendrick challenged them, J. Cole ran. And I don't think anyone could tell me otherwise. That's always going to be part of the discussion. That's the equivalent of trying to decide the GOAT in basketball. And then when it's time to compete against the other person, you will have the opportunity. You call in sick that day. Can you do it and still win the championship? Sure. But they're also going to gloss the fact that you was ducking him whenever the time for a duel came to be. Sure. I'm just saying. The fans wanted it. I don't think any Cole fans were happy that he was walking away. You can say he was being a bigger man.
So. You're right. Yeah, I don't think that any Cole fan was like, yay.
And to be fair, they said it first, right?
They said what first?
J. Cole and Drake on that track says, we the top three. And then Kendrick threw down the glove. He said, what? There's no top three. Best me. He said, I'm the only one at the top. You walking away from that means you've already succeeded that
means that you're the third.
You can say that.
Not the second.
You can say that.
Well, would you
say what you want about Drake? You say what you want about Drake, but I'll say this: Drake ain't never run from no beef. If somebody says something about him, he go at it. Fair. So I may not like him, but at least I'll respect the fact that when it comes to actually rapping and then going about it on a track, he does it. Mm-hmm. Now, does he lose? Absolutely. Other than Meek Mill, I think he's taking a bunch of L's. But he's still there fighting, and you have to commend that.
Sure.
But Any other thoughts about this rap beef?
No, not really.
J. Cole, anybody?
I think it's pretty much done for.
Okay.
Unless there's like a little upside or whatever, but I don't think there's much to say about that. Like you said, so
yeah,
I think it's pretty much done. I went to Drake's concert because I had money.
See,
the thing is,
sell out. You gotta sell out. Once he makes some money, all of a sudden he twerking at a Drake concert.
No, I want to know. Like,
I want to know if Kiki still loves you. She does.
Of course, I want to know who's Kiki. Who the fuck is Kiki?
Yeah, you mean.
And why she love it? I want to know who Kiki is. No, the thing is that happened is that before I didn't have the opportunity to go to concerts. There's a lot of concerts that I missed that I wanted to go to when I was a kid. Like, for example, when the Fugees and Cypress Hill came to Montreal, that was crazy. Missed it. Why? I couldn't ask my parents for money to go see concerts. They had other obligations and other. Nah, I got that. I'm curious. I'm gonna go see everything. I don't know an artist. I'm gonna go see him. I'm gonna go. So that's pretty much the reason why. But certain concerts that I'm not gonna go. I'm not going to Chiaga. I'm not
okay.
going.
You don't have to explain.
I'm not explaining.
If you like Drake, you like Drake.
This clown over here.
All right.
Anyways, yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't think I really have. It's entertaining.
Now, I know you were very happy to have a real first-round pick on your show last Friday. That was awesome. But damn, can the first-round pick, like, have a room that's like a room or something? I mean, what did he got? He's got a painting and plastic wrap behind him? He thought that was the spot to do the show? Let me find a place where it looks like I just moved in and I have a plastic wrap around. That looks the spot to do a big show on a Friday draft. I mean, damn, that's not the Bill Belichick New England way right there. That's some amateur hour. I'm disappointed in him right there.
He just moved.
I know.
He just moved.
I know. That's why I'm having fun. You can't hide money. He went from one mansion to a new mansion. But you obviously can hide money because he's not paying enough because somebody should already hung that up and take it out of the wrap and be done already. I'm disappointed.
NBC. That's crazy. Not surprising. My short time at NBC, I always get hit with surprise videos.
Right.
Whether it was my first show ever with the intro.
Right.
Then I come on and you're crushing me. And I've done like a bunch of podcasts with that picture. I just added that picture in plastic. Before it was just like blank wall, and I was like,
okay.
Give me the picture.
No, I'll put it there, but I won't take the plastic off. I'm gonna leave the plastic on there.
Protect it because that's to go in the basement.
You don't know, right? I have to move it. It might hit the wall, the door frame.
I can appreciate you holding me accountable.
Yeah.
But hey, shout out Florio because the first round pick was on, even though it doesn't matter how long it goes.
He was giving me crap because I didn't do the Friday show after the draft.
Because you're busy.
Yeah. Well, I did the late night, smoky drinking in the barn.
We made fun of you guys, your little balloons and everything.
Right.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn, I mean, I go all night and I, didn't want to do that. So he was a little snarky with me and he pushed back. So I was like, oh, this is perfect. Monday morning, I'm going to push back.
And I just caught a stray.
You caught a stray.
Yeah.
And you've given out lots of strays too. So we're not going to shed a tear for you. Okay. 2 things. All right. One, you alluded to me off camera before this. The moving people, you need to hurry it up a little.
Yep.
Okay.
That was all my wife's fault.
Okay.
So anybody that's married knows at all costs blame your wife.
Blame your wife. That's right. And she won't watch this, so she'll never know.
Exactly.
All right. So we're good. I'm blaming her. Mrs. McCourty, come on. All right. Second thing is you were late to this today.
Yeah, I was late.
Well, why? This is not the New England way again. What's going on?
What ends up happening is school drop off. I usually drop off my older 2 kids and my other, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to just drop off the older kids, and then I'm going to come straight here.
Right.
I didn't realize I was going to be in traffic from the time I got on the Tappan Zee Bridge until I pulled into the studio.
Mm-hmm.
So I left
at 8:15. A lot of
8:15.
people come up work here in this area.
Left at 8:15 and got here at like 9:40.
Okay. All right. I know. I thought about being in the front step and just Belichicking you.
And as soon as I was like, I know Sims is going to be like, where's this guy
at?
Well,
you get me too. I've been up since 5:30. I'm hungry
Me
right
too.
now.
I've been up since I
so
work out now
I haven't
at 6.
eaten. Oh yeah, you did. You enjoyed your morning. You had a workout.
Workout,
Got it. Yeah.
go
Well, I was
downstairs.
working. I was doing a job, so I'm hungry, and now you got me mad. But are you trying to make up with me by going top button swag today?
So I'm just trying to make sure I get invited to unbutton again. I was like, you know what? I'm going to put on a button up nice and neat.
Yes,
to
my
the
man.
show today.
My man. All right. All right. We're friends again, man.
See, that's how easy it is for us.
Very easy.
Man, as we get into this, last week we had previewed like, hey, let's come on and talk about these free agents. But he's like, you know what? Let's just live in a draft moment. And we knew this week could be a good time.
Right.
Odell Beckham signs, and that's like a big deal. Signs in Miami. And it made me kind of think of like, who's the next 1, 2, maybe 5 guys that'll sign
that are
this time of the year?
makers,
Yes,
right?
That we can look back at some point and be like, wow, that was a really good signing. And I think it's more of the defensive guys. I think that's usually what people don't talk about as much, but those guys make a big difference. Like the first guy, Justin Simmons, I think we talked about it when he got released. This guy's a good player, second team All-Pro last year. Denver's kind of rebuilding and doing different things. And talking to James Kaminsky, helps produce this show.
Yeah.
You know where he wants to see him. He said to me like maybe 3 weeks ago, wouldn't he be perfect on the Jets? And I do. I think Justin Simmons, he's played that cover forward, different. He can play in the middle of the field. So I just think having him on the Jets, I think his leadership, what he's been through, he's a Super Bowl champion. I think he can bring something. I think he's an older guy now. When you get to that age, you don't want to just join a team to say I played football. But I think with Aaron Rodgers, what the Jets have, this is a big year for them. And I think bringing a guy like him in can make a world of difference for that defense.
I don't disagree with you. They're one of the teams out there you look at and go, oh, safety is like, it's a great team, but this is one area you can look at safety and go, I'm not quite sure if they're top-notch there, right? You know, they got the kid from California, the safety, who I'm blanking out on his name, Ashton Davis, excuse me, right?
And then,
but he's kind of unproven to a degree, and we don't know what he's going to be, right? So I get that, too. And where I like that with the Justin Simmons thing, too, is where I feel like he struggled a little bit the last year in Denver. It was like they played a little more man, right? And I don't think that's his cup of tea. He was better with those Fangio zones, passing things
off. And they haven't done a lot of that in his career.
No, exactly. It's not him. I think the Jets and the Seattle scheme would actually fit his skill set better. So that would definitely be one team I look at. I mean, we're in the year, I think you kind of explain, or the time of the year where it's like teams go to OTAs, you know, right? Have a few OTAs. You start to look at the team and go, ooh, we thought this guy would be ready for us or ready to contribute, but we're going to have to go look at some of the veterans out there, right? So, like, Simmons, certainly one of those guys. Tyler Boyd being out there, right? That is going to be, like, through the first few OTAs, teams are going to look at their receivers and go, wait, we don't like our number 3. Well, how much money is Tyler Boyd asking for? Let's start to think about that. Simmons, I feel like the big thing there is going to be money, right?
I agree with
It's just where does he price himself at? And, of course, teams like the Jets are going, we're paying a lot of players a lot of money, and we got to pay Sauce Gardner probably after this year, right? And maybe even Garrett Wilson, too. So they're probably a little bit like, oh, where's his price tag?
Let's see how low this price tag can
go. Or
Or
will he wait a little longer? Will he be desperate? He's a veteran. He doesn't need to be here for OTAs, right? So I think there's that thought. I want to throw this one out at you, okay? Simmons, I agree with you, is definitely up there in the conversation. Another one that I like along those same lines that I think can still play, he was a little banged up last year, is Xavier Howard.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
Xavier Howard is still a lockdown man-to-man corner, right?
And I think he's a game changer. That's what I've always loved about his game. I remember 2017, I didn't really know who Xavier Howard was. And we go and we play Monday night in Miami, and he's going against Brandon Cooks. And, you know, when you see X, you don't see, like, this guy that looks like he's a blazing speed guy. Doesn't look like that. It's just his physical stature. And Cooks runs a post, and I'm like, oh, he got him. And out of nowhere, the ball's in the air. He just catches up, intercepts the ball off of Cooks' head, off his head. So I think he's a guy that if he can get to a team, I think they'll accept him, they'll take him with open arms. But I think he's the guy that if you have a good defense, he takes your good defense to a defense that helps your offense now because he's going to get takeaways, whether it's interceptions, whether it's people being sloppy with the ball, punching the ball out. So I think he's a guy, and I know he's gotten tied to a little bit, but I think in Houston, a team that, you know, possibly between him and Gilmore, I could see Houston saying, hey, we could use a guy that's going to come in here ready to play, ready to help us, ready to be a game changer. And I think Nick Casero's GM has experience with Stephon Gilmore, having him on the Patriots, but also playing Xavier Howard
Yeah,
twice
exactly
a year.
right.
You know what that looks like.
Exactly
So,
right.
I think I definitely agree. I think Xavier Howard and, bringing him up, that's why I'm throwing Stephon Gilmore. I think both
Sure.
of those guys,
Yeah.
they're obviously not the same guys they were a couple
Right.
years ago,
Right.
but they're still productive. They still can help you. And I think the biggest thing is all those young corners,
Yeah.
they look for that. I remember being on the team with Gilmore, with
Right.
Revis,
Right.
with Talib. Young corners would come in and they would just stare and see what these guys do day in and day out. So I think when you have some younger guys in that room,
Right.
Stingley, guys like that
And he
who are
follow
already
his
good
lead.
players,
Right.
but all right, how do I now take my game up to that next level where every year I'm going to the Pro Bowl, every year I'm an All-Pro?
Yeah,
So
right.
that's what I love about getting veteran corners in your room because they bring up the value of the room right away.
Right.
But they also in 5 years you will see some of their traits shining through your young corners.
Yeah, I hear that. You're right. There's great value in that, right? Our producer here, James Kaminsky's like, what about Philly, right? I don't think Philly would be the case there. Darius, with his situation, he wants a little bit more money. They got Bradbury back. They just got the first-round corner there, right? They got Cooper DeJean, who could play corner safety, maybe both there, right? I think we both think he's better safety.
yeah.
But I got some names with Xavier Howard. First off, I like your Houston thought. I think that's real, right? Nick came from New England. He knows man-to-man's crucial. I think we're both in the same boat. If you want to be a great defense and you want to win the Super Bowl, you've got to be able to play man-to-man
No
in big
doubt about it.
situations,
Yep.
right? Just like the Chiefs did in the big moments of the Super Bowl.
Gotta
They
cover
locked
somebody.
up, they blitzed, they did it. You got to cover up. 49ers, not so good at man. What happened? Ding, boom, boom,
Yep.
surgical, and we just tear you apart the whole game long, right? Once we kind of get a feel for how you're defending us. So, here you said Houston. The Bills are another team I'm going to throw in there, right? No Tre'Davious White, right? Kyer Elam has not worked out quite to the capacity, right? Benford was hurt last year. He's a good
He showed
player.
some- I thought he played well
Right?
last year, but
Right.
exactly.
Yeah, so that's one where I go, damn. I mean, we're talking Super Bowl window Bills, right? The price is right. Xavier
And that
Howard.
whole secondary.
Exactly.
No
gone. The
High,
safeties are gone.
No Poyer.
Right.
Yeah.
Gets the veteran guy like you talk
Exactly.
about. That one pops to me a little bit. The 49ers are another team I'm going to throw
have
in
a
there.
guy like that, yep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The 49ers, my buddy Kyle Shanahan and all that, if there was one thing, he'd go, hey, what's one thing you'd like me to fix about your team? You got to be able to play some better man-to-man in some big situations. That would be my thing.
Yep.
The Rams, I look at them and go, another team that could probably use a little help back there, right? And then your old coach, B. Flo, up in Minnesota.
They did, yes.
Right?
Yes, I agree. 100%
And he
with
coached
that.
them down in Miami. I would think that would be one where, again, the price is going to be the issue. And what is Xavier Howard expecting? Because I'm sure he's going, wait, when I'm
not-
healthy, I'm
yep.
still the man. And I got some of the best ball skills in football. But the NFL's going to go, you're getting up there in age a little bit, and you've been hurt a little bit. So where does the rubber meet the road? And that's where it's going to be interesting. With
I
them.
love the Minnesota because I think last year Flo implemented a lot of, I don't want to call it kind of, it was
Smoke and mirrors,
Yeah,
and
it wasn't
he was hiding
fundamentally
stuff.
sound.
Right.
You're doing a bunch of different things.
Right.
No one sees it.
Yeah.
They don't see that. He
Yeah.
said a lot of his scheme, not a lot, but he got some good concepts from being at Pittsburgh and then sitting down with the University of Pittsburgh, sitting down with Narduzzi and asking him about some things that they're doing defensively, implemented it this year. But now all these offensive coordinators are going to go back and say,
Go, wait,
okay,
how do we pick this
is
up? They do this.
So they're
right.
going to
Yeah.
have to say, all right, we're going to have to now show up and guard somebody. We have to play some man-to-man, and Flo
Right.
has that background of loving to play man. So I think when you first get to a team, you're kind of like, okay, what's here? What can I do? How can we be effective? And now I'm sure he's over there and he's in Kevin O'Connell's ear like, all right, you went and got the pass rusher.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
Right.
All right, what's the money look like? Let's go get one of these corners. Let's bring one of these guys in that when it's 3rd and 4 with 1:40 left and we're in this 2-minute drill, I can't draw up something that's going to
I can't grab the
confuse a
craziest
quarterback.
blitz and
We
drop
gotta go
out
stop
coverage.
somebody.
Exactly right.
Yeah,
I'm with
so-
you there. They got the pass rushers right. They need the cover guys.
Yep.
That's one. All right. Any of those other veterans that hit to you that you go like Calais Campbell? I know he's out there.
That was a guy, and I see because what I love about all the teams we name, I think for these older guys, the team has to be a contender. They have to have a chance.
Yeah.
So I look at Calais Campbell. I'm like, if I'm Calais Campbell, Kansas City, give me a call. He's been playing for so long.
They need
It's
D
probably not gonna
tackle,
be a
depth,
money
all
thing.
of it. Exactly right.
You get a guy like that in there. You don't need him to play 80% of the snaps.
Yeah.
Come in, serve a role. And I
Right.
think, obviously, every team Calais Campbell's ever played on, they've talked about his leadership. They talked about what he brings. So I think just having him in there, Chris Jones, him, like those guys create that veteran leadership that as you draft guys or you bring young guys in, find an undrafted free agent that you might like.
Right.
Those are just great guys to look up to. So I can see Calais Campbell having a fit. I just like the Kansas City because I think those teams that have the great runs somehow find a way to get those veterans who are like, I want a Super Bowl run.
Yeah,
I want to win.
You know that, right.
And we're coming in. And exactly, New England made a killing off of that of getting guys that the teams that are probably offering them the most money, they don't want to go play for. The few teams that they do want to play for, the money's not too different. So then it turns into, well,
which one gives me the best shot?
Exactly.
Where can I get
going
that
to play with
hardware?
Patty Mahomes.
I'm going with Patty. That's exactly right. But yeah, I think we're in the same thought there. Calais Campbell, Justin Simmons, like you talked about. I would think Stephon Gilmore is there. And even Xavier Howard, where they're going, no. I'm going to go to a place where I can find balance and my team has got a chance here. So
you know one name I thought was interesting on the offensive side, Ryan Tannehill.
Right.
I just thought that was interesting as just looking at different things, and I'm like, dang, Ryan Tannehill, that's right. He didn't play last year. They decided to go with Levis. But I'm like, the guy.
And you know he's good.
Yeah, I'm like, he's an effective guy. And now he's going to be a backup. So I'm like, a team could use a guy that if he's going to be on your bench, say, I'm fully confident. And I thought of Detroit. I'm like, for Detroit, they had Teddy Bridgewater there last year. He's now coaching.
Protect your Super Bowl team.
Exactly.
Right.
Get a guy in there that you can. I think there's some similarities to golf, a veteran player.
Yeah.
I think Tannehill, younger days, he can run and get yards. I think he still has an ability. I don't think it's as much of a strong point, but I thought him in Detroit, I thought that could be a good matchup for them to get a guy like that in their building, a guy that I think could do well in that offense. It's a very quarterback-friendly offense, so I thought that was an interesting guy that, with the way injuries happen, that any team he ends up on could possibly play a role.
Yeah, I no doubt. He's been somebody I've been throwing around my podcast. I've always been a little bit higher than the rest of the world on Ryan Tannehill, right? I know it's not sexy. Yeah, he's accurate. He's smart. He's a better athlete than people think, and he's a really good down the field thrower of the football. And I think that's the kind of team you look at. Now, like one team I've looked at with them a little bit has gone like, are the